What if your heart stopped beating and no one was there to notice? No children nearby, no spouse in the kitchen, no neighbor knocking on your door, just you, alone in your living room, your body going cold, and the clock ticking faster than your breath. It's a terrifying thought, but for millions of older adults, especially those over 60 who live alone, this is a very real risk. And the truth is, heart attacks don't always scream. Sometimes they whisper. And if you don't act in time, you may never get a second chance. This isn't about scaring you. It's about preparing you, because even if you're completely alone, you are not powerless. In the next few minutes, I'll walk you through a simple life-saving plan. 7 crucial things you can do the moment your heart starts to fail to protect yourself, buy precious time, and possibly save your own life. And you don't need fancy tools or a medical degree to do this. You just need a little knowledge and the courage to act when it matters most. So take a deep breath, because today you're going to learn something that could change everything. Not just for you, but maybe for someone you love. Frank had just poured his morning coffee. The sun was peeking through the blinds, warming his small kitchen in Arizona. The chair creaked under him. Same old creak he heard every day. Routine, safe, predictable. At 76, he'd gotten used to the silence. His wife had passed 3 years ago. His kids lived states away. The days felt long, but Frank kept them filled with crossword puzzles, radio shows, and walks to the mailbox. That morning felt no different. He had eggs on the stove, the news humming softly in the background. Then, as he reached for the salt, it hit him. Not pain exactly, just a strange tightness, like someone was gently pressing on his collarbone from the inside. He paused. Maybe it was just indigestion? The bacon? He tried brushing it off, sipped water, stood still for a moment. But the feeling grew. His left arm tingled faintly. His forehead dampened with sweat, though the room was cool. Still, he hesitated. There was no one to ask, no one to say, "That doesn't look right." Frank had always been tough. He'd fought through pneumonia in his 40s, worked long hours on his feet, never missed a day. So he told himself, give it 5 minutes, see if it passes. And that 5 minutes almost became his last. You see, Frank didn't know the early signs. He didn't know what to do when alone. And like so many others, he thought he'd recognize a heart attack by crushing pain, by the drama you see in movies. But real life doesn't always shout. Sometimes it just whispers and waits to see if you're listening. Step 1, recognize the whisper before the scream. Most people think a heart attack starts with a bang, a sudden, crushing pain in the chest. But for older adults, the reality is often far quieter, more subtle, more dangerous. It might feel like pressure in your upper chest, or tightness just under your collarbone, or a creeping shortness of breath even though you're sitting still. It might not even be pain, just a sense that something's off. Some feel discomfort in the arms, neck, back, or jaw. Others break into a cold sweat, feel lightheaded or nauseated. And for many, especially women, it's more like indigestion than heart drama. Frank thought it was heartburn. He didn't know the signs. He didn't know that waiting could cost him his chance. So when your body whispers, listen. Don't wait for drama. Don't wait for certainty. Your best chance of survival comes the moment you decide to act. Step 2, call emergency services immediately. The moment you suspect a heart attack, call 911. Not your daughter, not your neighbor, not even your primary doctor. Call the people who are trained to save your life right now. Every second, your heart is deprived of oxygen, damage builds. And if you try to drive yourself to the hospital, you risk blacking out behind the wheel. Frank didn't call at first. He waited. That delay nearly cost him everything. Compare that to Linda, 78. She felt a strange ache in her shoulder and a wave of nausea. Her instinct was to call her son, but then she remembered what a nurse once told her: call for help first, talk to your family later. She called 911. By the time the paramedics arrived, her symptoms had worsened, but she was still conscious, still breathing. That decision saved her life. If you live alone, keep your phone nearby, always. Learn the emergency call feature on your smartphone. You may only get one chance to use it. Step 3, chew an aspirin. Don't swallow. Once help is on the way, your next move is small but mighty. If you're not allergic and not on certain blood thinners, chew one full-strength 325 milligram aspirin. Not swallow, chew, even if your hands are shaking, even if your mouth is dry. Why? Because chewing lets the aspirin absorb faster, and aspirin slows down blood clotting, possibly breaking up the blockage before it gets worse. Joe, 72, knew this. He'd heard it once in a workshop. So when he felt tightness spreading from his chest to his jaw, he grabbed the aspirin in his kitchen drawer and chewed. That tiny pill, his doctor later said, might have saved part of his heart muscle. Keep aspirin in easy-to-reach spots: your nightstand, kitchen, wallet. Tell your loved ones where you store it, and make sure it hasn't expired. One small action, one giant difference. Step 4, sit down and stay still. Now that help is on the way and aspirin is doing its job, don't move. Don't try to pack a bag, don't clean up, don't tough it out. Every extra step you take, every second you spend upright, is asking your already struggling heart to do more. Sit in a sturdy chair with a backrest. Keep your feet flat on the floor. Rest your arms gently. Breathe slowly. If you feel faint, lie on your side with your head slightly elevated. But don't lie flat on your back unless you have no other option. Alice, 81, felt pressure building in her chest while doing dishes. Her instinct? Finish up. But she remembered her doctor's advice. If it feels like your heart, sit down. Everything else can wait. So she did. She collapsed into her recliner and waited. And that stillness likely prevented her from falling into cardiac arrest. Stillness isn't laziness, it's survival. Step 5. Unlock your front door. If you have the strength, and only if you feel steady enough, unlock your front door. It might sound simple, even silly, but in an emergency, seconds matter. A locked door means delay. A locked door could mean the paramedics have to break in. A locked door could mean they reach you too late. Paul, 76, lived in a condo. When his chest tightened, he called 911, chewed aspirin, sat down, and unlocked the door, all within 2 minutes. Later, the paramedics told him that one unlocked door gave us 30 more seconds. That might have been the edge. If you can't get up safely, stay where you are. But if you're near the door and can move without strain, unlock it. Better yet, consider a smart lock or a secure medical lockbox with a spare key, because the people coming to save you deserve a clear path. Step 6. Use your phone speaker and medical ID if you're still able to talk. Switch your phone to speaker mode. It frees your hands, it eases your breathing, and it allows the dispatcher to hear your voice, your breathing, even signs of distress you might not notice. And here's a tip few people use. Set up your medical ID. It's a feature on every smartphone that shows your name, allergies, medications, and emergency contacts. Even from the lock screen. Susan, 79, blacked out before help arrived. But her phone's medical ID told paramedics everything they needed to know. They avoided giving her a medication she was allergic to and called her daughter immediately. Setting it up takes 5 minutes, and it could save hours or your life. Tech isn't just for the young, it's for the prepared. Step 7. Slow your breathing. Anchor your heart. When fear takes over, your breath shortens, your chest tightens, your heart races, not just from pain, but panic. But even now, there's one thing you still control: your breath. And used wisely, it can keep you calm enough to survive. Here's a simple method. Breathe in through your nose for 4 seconds. Hold for 1. Exhale gently through your mouth for 6 seconds. Then do it again. And again. It gives your body something steady. It helps prevent deadly arrhythmias, and it tells your nervous system you are still here. Frank remembers this. When the second attack came, a year later, he knew the signs. He called 911, took aspirin, sat down, and focused on his breath. He stayed alive because this time he was ready. 7 steps, 7 anchors in the storm. Not complicated, not expensive, not out of reach. Just knowledge, courage, and calm action right when it matters most. Frank lived, not just that day, but every day after, with more intention than ever before. After his second heart attack, something shifted. He no longer walked past the aspirin bottle on the counter without remembering what it had done for him. He kept his phone charged and close, his medical ID updated, his door unlocked at night. Simple things, but now they carried meaning, purpose. He had learned what most people don't get the chance to learn until it's too late. That even in your most alone, most helpless moment, you can still fight for yourself. And he wasn't the only one. Linda, who chose to call 911 instead of her son, now teaches her friends at church how to recognize the signs. She says, it's not fear that saves you, it's readiness. Joe, who chewed an aspirin with shaking hands, now keeps a small emergency kit in his wallet and a spare in his car. His granddaughter calls him the bravest man I know. And Susan, who never even got to say a word before blacking out, her phone spoke for her. Her daughter arrived before she even woke up. Now she carries a small card in her purse that reads, "My life is worth preparing for." These stories aren't dramatic, they're real, quiet, brave. They remind us that survival doesn't always come in sirens and spotlights. Sometimes it's in the breath you slow, the pill you chew, the number you dial. You are not powerless, not today, not ever, and now you're ready. You made it here, and that means you now hold something most people never take the time to learn. A plan, a path, a lifeline. But knowing is just the beginning. What you do next, that's what matters most. So take a moment, ask yourself, if this happened tomorrow, would I be ready? Would your phone be within reach? Would your aspirin be fresh and easy to find? Would your loved ones know where to look? If even one answer is not yet, then you know your next step. And don't keep this to yourself. Share this video with someone you care about, because you might be the reason they survive. Have you ever felt the signs we talked about today? Do you know someone who has? Tell us your story in the comments. Not just to be heard, but to help someone else feel seen. And if you found this video helpful, I invite you to subscribe and join us again, because in our next episode, we'll talk about how to prevent the most common type of stroke after 60 and what you must never ignore during your morning routine. Your journey to stay alive, stay strong, and stay ready starts right here, and it continues together.